Got to keep it going. Coming up next, we got a lightweight matchup. Peter McLeod-Warrick. You know, we've seen him before in the Muay Thai ranks. He's coming into the MMA ranks. Miguel Sevasin making his third trip to the Cage Titans cage. Great fight, great matchup here to keep the night moving.
Man, but what an act to follow.
Oh, for sure. It's got to be tough. It's got to be tough. God.
Incredible fight, man.
Shit. I'm sorry. I'm swearing.
All right, here we go. Our first fighter walking to the cage, coming to us from Citadel. A very, very well-respected camp out here in New England.
The first one walking. Yes, he is actually. My apologies.
Peter McLeod-Warrick.
He's making his amateur debut in the mixed martial arts sport, but he is 2-0 at kickboxing, Muay Thai for the Cage Titans Combat Nights. He first made an appearance at the first combat night with a unanimous decision victory over Aaron Messenger, and he followed that up with a TKO over Nick Oben. So we know that he's got the striking chops. We know he's got good movement. He's 6'3", long, rangy, aggressive at the same time. Coming out of Citadel with someone like Eric Grossman in his corner, you got Trevor Goody and Steve Foley, who was originally supposed to fight tonight. Great corner, great team around him. Now he's looking to put his grappling chops to the test as well as his striking chops.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, there's certain gyms that you just know are going to produce talented fighters and talented mixed martial artists. And Citadel's absolutely one of them. So I'm so excited to see what this guy can bring to the MMA cage.
Little gloves are on for Peter McLeod-Warrick for the first time, and he is excited to showcase his skills in this sold-out crowd.
And his opponent, Miguel Sevasin, coming from Lakeville MMA. You know, we've seen Miguel fight twice so far. He came up short both times, but both times he was never out of the fight. He was always game. You know, I was a guy who was 0-3. So when I look at a guy like Miguel, he's 0-2. Make no mistake, he's a lot better than his record is.
Logan Carrier in this corner, Tony Leet as well.
You know, and the cool thing about the past year is that, let's say you're 0-2, you know, you never had a better opportunity to kind of bite down on the mouthpiece and get to work. And we'll see what type of improvements he's made within this time now that he's returning to the cage.
Yeah, for sure. He had a long time to get his training right. You know, of course, coming from Lakeville MMA, he also cross-trains with Lozon MMA.
Slew of studs over there. And his two losses, even though he got finished by Tyler Borg early in the rear naked choke, that was a barn burner of a fight, non-stop action. He showcased how much heart that this young man has in Miguel Sevasin. And when he lost to Tim Birkenhead in that 3-round decision, there wasn't a single smidgen, a single ounce of quit in Miguel Sevasin, who's hungry to get into this win column against Peter McLeod-Warrick. Both of these guys were slated to fight each other last April. Now they're here today. And this tale of the tape is sponsored by Kill Combat Sports Gear.
All right, Peter McLeod-Warrick, the older man.
All right, real quick announcement before we get to the next fight. As you know, it's a sold-out crowd. You have to find a seat. So if there's an empty seat next to you, slide down. Sold out crowd. Please, guys, help us out and make sure all the seats are full. Thank you so much.
29 years old for Peter McLeod-Warrick, 24. Very young man at Miguel Sevasin. Both guys coming in 155, 156. 3 inches taller is McLeod-Warrick. And Andy will have the particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourselves for the next fight of the evening. An amateur mixed martial arts bout at the lightweight division scheduled for 3 rounds, 3 minutes apiece. Introducing to you first, standing in the red corner, standing at 6 feet 3 inches tall. He weighed in at 156 pounds. From Boston, Massachusetts, he's representing Citadel, and tonight he makes his MMA debut. Let's hear it for Pistol Peter McLeod-Warrick. And now introducing his opponent, standing across from him in the blue corner, with an amateur MMA record of 0-2. He stands 6 feet tall, and he weighed in at 155 pounds. from Assonet, Massachusetts. He's representing Lakeville, MMA. Let's hear it for Miguel Sevasin. And our referee for this matchup is Steve Rita.
Man, it is no secret. McLeod is a long fellow for this weight class. I'm really interested to see Miguel's plan on how he plans on getting onto the inside.
Tall and lanky lightweights here. Miguel Sevasin in the black trunks. Peter McLeod-Warrick in the white and green. Both throwing in a phone booth.
Miguel is throwing heavy leather early.
Went over the top and clipped Peter McLeod-Warrick early, but he's clinching up with them with an over-under.
No feeling out process here. These guys are getting right to work.
A lot of mutual respect between these two young competitors. These guys were excited to fight each other last April, and we're super stoked to see this matchup come back to fruition for this card in July.
I'd like to see them try to establish more head control when they're in the clinch, you know, using their forehead to try to get under their opponent's chin. That's a lot of times how you can establish better strikes and better just position for grappling.
And it doesn't look like much, but that forehead on the chin when your head's pinned up against the cage is just an annoying little itch that you just can't get rid of. And it's imperative when it comes to that cage control in that cage wrestling. Totally different than open mat wrestling.
And they're back in the center of the cage.
Nice leg kick from Peter.
Oh, look at the confidence
right
on
hand.
Miguel.
McLeod-Warrick with a nice body kick moving backwards, but Sevasin just pressuring with over-the-top punches, trying to make this
switch.
a very tough debut for McLeod-Warrick.
Like
So
you
far,
guys
so good.
said, that cage wrestling is an art of itself. You know, it's a big game changer. You know, wrestling out in the open and the wrestling with a wall behind you, it makes it a lot more difficult.
Nice right hand over the top from Miguel, who we know he's aggressive in his two fights. That aggressiveness has been nullified by some aggressive wrestling in his two opponents by Tim Birkenhead and Tyler Bork. But none of that wrestling going on here tonight.
McLeod-Warrick is having a hard time getting off.
Oh! Big right hand.
He's out. Whoa!
What a big win.
Unbelievable.
Hit him right on the button. He was out way before he went down.
He's okay. He's back.
Wow.
He got dazed, Peter McLeod-Warrick, but what a way to jump into the win column for Miguel Sevasin with a barn burner and a flurry of that caliber against Peter McLeod-Warrick, who was 2-0 in the Muay Thai ranks. To piece together a combination and finish a striker like that, beautiful job, well earned, and just like you said, you started your career 0-3, he stayed persistent with this, and he came in and got that win. And no discrediting to Peter McLeod-Warrick. We know he's a true, tried and tested warrior. He will be back. He is born for this, bred for this, loves testing himself. We wish a speedy recovery for him, and we can't wait to see him back in the Cage Titans cage. But the moment now begins to the now 1-2 Miguel Sevasin out of Lakeville MMA.
Miguel was doing a great job putting pressure and throwing those big overhand rights, and that's ended up how he caught him. Peter needed to do a better job of circling when he was getting that pressure instead of walking straight backwards and using his length.
Yeah, and we were just talking about how, you know, the striker, Peter McLeod-Warrick, how it was going to switch up with the grappling, and Miguel could have utilized the grappling to his advantage, but instead he stood right in front of him and knocked him out. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. And he landed like 2-3 shots after he was out. Because, I mean, he was just out on his feet.
He was out on his feet because he clipped him, and the cage kind of held him up. You know, that was a scary knockout. Scary knockout. And Andy will have the official time.
Ladies and gentlemen, keep it going for these two warriors. Referee Steve Rita has called a stop to this contest at 1 minute 55 seconds of round number 1. Giving you your winner by knockout, Miguel Sevasin.